Lovely to see you. Lovely to see you. And yes, let's have a good old morning chatting about the astrology, what's going on out there, and yeah, and loads more as per usual. As you expect on this spiritual astrology show, where I'm joined by my fabulous guest, Guiomar Ramirez-Montesinos. And just before we do all that, let's go and do a little bit of this. So very good morning to see you. I hope you guys are well out there and enjoying our day out there and having a fantastic time. I'm sure you are. Sure you are. Okay, right. We're in a particularly interesting phase of life as we go through this particular time. Not only are we, excuse me, coming out of the days of spring, coming out of the days of spring and going into the days of summer. For some of you, probably in some parts of the world, especially UK at the moment. So I gather it's not quite straightforward like that, is it? Yes, so I gather it's a little bit on the unsettled side. But even so, I gather you've got a heat wave coming up. Fantastic. Fantastic. And the producer says, hello to Guiomar and myself. That's absolutely lovely. Thank you very much indeed. And let's just put that across about there. How's that? Good. Okay, so as we go through this morning, we've got loads to discuss with you. I'm sure you're going to find it quite interesting because I love sharing the show with Guiomar and just talk about the discussions that we have astrologically. What's going on there? Good. And also, this is a time for you to ask questions. If you've got questions or like discussions about the current times, yes, by all means do. Let's have a good old look at this. And it's interesting what's going on out there on the stage, on the world stage, how things are playing out. And how the planets are really reflecting this as we go through this. We'll discuss that too. So, okay, loads of those talked about, but in the meantime now, I think I need to advise you guys, this is what we need to do. We ask you please to share the show live. As it is, just go down there, press your button there. If you're coming on YouTube, then please press the subscribe button. And as you share the show, it just helps that show get out there to more people, as it is free, and that's all we ask of you to do. So thank you very much. Well, a very good morning to you, Maria. Very good morning to you. Lovely to see you on the show here this morning saying hello. Hola from the UK, I get it, yes. And hello from Spain. There, reverse psychology there. Okay, good. Alrighty, I think it's got to that time, hasn't it? Yes, do you think so? Yes, I think so too. I think, now some people, as you know, Guiomar, some people say she was born under the stars. Some people say she's from another country. Some people say she's from America even. And some people... So I think it's a great time to go, welcome to the show, the wonderful Guiomar Ramirez-Montesinos. Hello and good morning.
Good morning, Phil. Good morning, everybody. Good.
Oh, fantastic. And are you enjoying the lovely sunshine?
Well, I enjoy the lovely shade and breeze. I'm not like a sunshine fan myself, except for the early morning sunshine, which I do enjoy. I do my early morning walks to see the dawn. Yes. So that I enjoy. But the middle of the day sun with this skin.
The skin, no. You can go a little bit of like do the lobster. It's like doing what's that group? The lobster. Oh, I can't remember. I can't remember who they are. I don't remember. I remember they are in a minute. I get their name. When we go.
Hi, Susanna.
Yeah, Susanna says hello. Ellie says hello. Debs Harris says good morning, everyone. And also we've got Maria and everyone else who's joined us this morning. Absolutely lovely. So okay. How you find it? Because every time we do a show, there's always seems to be a theme going on out there, and we get a theme coming up where people are going through particular things, situations, and yeah, how interesting that is. Media says, "Oh, we missed you guys. Good morning." Oh, that's absolutely lovely. Thank you very much indeed. In fact, have a hoot over there in Cyprus. There you go, a Cyprus hoot. How's that? just to cheer up the day. Good. Yes. So what's the theme you find that people are going through at this present time?
Well, it has to do a lot with owning your sun and your Saturn, like maturing, like observing your old patterns that are disempowering, and you can either see them in yourselves, like ways you either boycotted yourself, or ways you victimized yourself, or you can see it in other people, like somebody telling you about their issue and you seeing your old self reflected there.
Yeah.
So these days we have been seeing these, like, in which way have you made yourself a victim in the past, and the importance of retrieving that power, and actually being acknowledging that you are the creator of your own reality. So where are you going to create that reality from? Are you going to still play the victim? It's going to be like very obvious that that's not the right way to go. Or are you going to like blame it on other people, whatever's happening to you? Or are you going to make yourself responsible for your actions and reactions? No, that's more or less the theme.
Okay, right. Now, here's something that's interesting. Is going here. What you're saying. We've just had this eclipse which has just gone on in Gemini and Sagittarius.
It's in an hour or two, I think.
Yeah. It's just actually the the moon is at 4 degrees. Yes, beg your pardon. The moon is at 4 degrees and the sun is at 5 degrees. So it's going to come on, within the hour. I think it is. Yeah. Now, it's interesting about this one. And when you say about owning ourselves, where we're going, our destinies, our futures, how are it all going to be? We'll put the chart up in a minute, guys. And I think here, this is to be careful not to get lost in things. And the reason why I say that, in fact, let's go and get the chart up now. Let's go and have a little look here. Let's go and have a little look at our chart. There it is. Here we are. See, there we are. There's the chart here. I'm just going to move this around a bit so you can see where we're going. And if we look at here, down here, my little box that way. Down here, we've got the moon. There it is, 4 degrees of Sagittarius. 4 degrees of Sagittarius.
Yes, but remember, Phil, that chart is before the sun came out?
Oh, yeah. Yes, that's right. Yes, because this is Central Eastern time. Yes, it's probably a little bit more now. Yes, that's right. Because I clicked on it about an hour ago to get it ready for the show. So, yes, I totally understand that. Yes.
Yeah. So in 2 hours, it's the eclipse.
Yes. Now, okay, it's interesting, isn't it? Because communication, understanding things, relating to things, how things can get very misinterpreted very quickly and very misunderstood. And normally that's a Mercury thing, but of course we've got Gemini involved, ruling planet Mercury. What's Mercury about to do? It's about to slow down and go retrograde. Oops. What did we say here? Some people say. May not be quite like that, though. May not be quite like that. I just put that out there. Spirit says, yes. Please, yes. Just hear a message there from the producer. Right. Okay, now, but then what it's going to do as well, and just over here, over this little, there we go, over there it is. We've got Jupiter in Pisces at 1 degree. And then we have this T-square. It's called a T or a triangle, a red triangle, but what it is 180 degrees there and 90 degrees there. And this is bringing into this. And what has Jupiter and Pisces indicated to us? So Jupiter and Pisces by itself is quite nice, isn't it? It's at home. It's at home in its sign of Pisces. Although it's also this ruler of Sagittarius, we've got this energy of this spiritual energy, these dreams, these things like this. It's wonderful, isn't it? How do you see it?
Yeah, I think for me, Jupiter in Pisces is like the angels are speaking to us.
Yeah.
So within that T square, the full moon eclipse. It's so the full moon eclipse, there's an eclipse that like opens up a hole in the sky, so information comes in and it reveals like the underlying truth.
Yep.
So in a way that T square can bring us in um, new spiritual information. Also, it's in the opposite sign. The opposite sign is Virgo. That's what where that T square would balance itself out. So
Yes.
Virgo says like have all your eggs in the basket, put everything into order. If you're in coherence, if you are in order, then the information you can receive, which is unconscious information, but like the opening that is happening now, and that the information you can download. There's also a Lilith Neptune, which is about bringing down the dream, and of course with Pluto, it's bringing out the crop. So in comes the light, out comes the crop. So it can be a bit tumultuous with that T square, but it's actually we're receiving a lot of new information, and what blocks the new information coming in are your old patterns, and specifically the patterns that are being touched are the Saturnian or Saturn Sun patterns, which is Saturn and Sun have to do with the father, and the father figure is your authority. The Sun is like who you really are, um, how you express yourself, but it's typically the father also. It's like the sun in the sky, it's the brightest thing, it's the ruler, it's the king. And then Saturn would be the structure, the
Yeah.
structural part of the father, the
Yes.
containment, right? So we're being asked through the Saturn Uranus which is an aspect that asks for individuation, and that sun in Gemini that can be either very patriarchal or very quantum. It's who's creating, where are you creating your reality from? Are you just complaining and disempowering yourself? Are you blaming others for what's going on? Or are you understanding and are you starting to see the old mental patterns which you've been creating your reality from, and very disempowered reality, and start to own and be responsible, be sovereign of your thoughts, because it's from your thoughts and from what you feel that you're creating your reality. Okay, so
Yeah.
if we're feeling oh, I can't do this, I'm not good enough, observe, how are you limiting yourself? In what way are those thoughts helping you? Like this morning I was having coffee with some friends, and one of them was saying, oh, I'm so busy at work, it's a lot of work, I'm very busy, I don't have time, etc., etc. And I'm like, well, what you're going to do, and very quickly, is create that reality for yourself. And that's what you're doing every day. You're thinking, but I don't have time, there's too much work. And what's happening is that there's more and more work, and you have less and less time to do what you want. So begin to create your reality by acknowledging, observing these thoughts. And they are coming from a space of lack inside, from inner lack. But we can always change those thoughts and say, okay, I don't want to create that reality. I acknowledge I'm thinking this, I acknowledge I'm feeling lack, but I want to create a reality that I want. So I'm going to have the thoughts that accompany the creation of that reality. Thoughts have to do with Gemini. It's a Gemini sun eclipse. And the
Yes.
North Node is there, the
Yes.
Sun is there,
Yes.
Venus is there, Mercury is there. So it's how are you using your thoughts to create your reality? It's not good enough to say, oh, I can't do this because I don't know enough. I can't do this because I'm not prepared enough. It's not time. I depend on others. No, we don't depend on others. You depend on yourself. That's what we have to learn. So, yes, you might say, no, it's because I have children. I can't do whatever I want. Okay, you can't jump into something new straight away. But even though you're surrounded by people that you're taking care of, that doesn't mean that you can start aligning with what you want and go in that direction, not letting your mind being entertained in all sorts of different problems that you might have around you that are not in the direction of what your true self really wants. And even if you have family, if you have another job, if you have people to take care of, the universe wants you to be you. So the universe wants you to be in the right place for you. And whatever that place is, all we have to do is align our mind in that direction, so our destiny can find us. So it's
This
not
is
it's not about, no,
yes,
I can't do
yes.
this.
Yes, this is really interesting what you're saying. And some people I've been working with recently, they've lost their identity a little bit. They tend to think of themselves as, oh, I wish I was doing something else, wish I was doing what they're doing. I was, and losing their self empowerment. They're losing their, as you say, identity. And it's interesting, Jupiter going into Pisces is, yes, I think it's the angelic realm speaking to us. And a lot of people, guys, what do you think out there? Are you having loads of dreams, perhaps? Are you downloading dreams? Jupiter in Pisces is a downloader of information spiritually. And those dreams, what realities are they creating for you? Are the dreams resonating with your current realities? You see, so it's not just dreams. What's resonating with what's going on around you now? Is that something that's happening for you? I know I've been having lots of those dreams, and some of them have been quite strange. Some of them have been quite powerful, and I'm looking at them. And normally I would think, oh my goodness, this is very obscure. But actually, I'm seeing the change in this. Yes, Media says, so many dreams, so many dreams. Just put that up there. Yes, so many dreams, almost prophetic. Yes, and people are having these because just what Jupiter's doing. So he says, I'm not. That's hilarious. And Maria says, lots and lots. Yes, Sandra Park says, yes, powerful dreams. This is Jupiter and Pisces stuff. We're working this because Pisces is a subconscious, it's the 12th house, it's the hidden area, but it's what goes on the back of our minds. And this is the interesting part that I think here, guys. And just to talk about this little bit here, this T square. Jupiter, 1 degree Pisces, the moon, the moon and the sun. And sometimes when we have a square is a challenge. A square is a challenge that I'm going to put that in a minute, Zoe. And the subconscious part here, very much our dreams where we're going. And Jupiter with the square, the 90-degree square, sometimes is a challenge of something. And sometimes Jupiter loves to get carried away. It's exciting. It's exciting. It's, oh, what should we do now? Let's go and do this. Let's go and do that. Let's make it bigger. Why have a party of 4 when you can have 400? Be brilliant. It's like, well, hang on a minute. How are we going to cater for this lot? So it gets carried away, and then you have to bring Saturn back into the reality to contain things a little bit. Now the thing here is everybody's going on about sleep. Now it's interesting here about sleep. I've been putting up on a page there about insomnia and sleep and how hypnosis can help with sleep. But we'll come back to that in a minute. But just to get onto this, guys, here, just be aware of visions or things you're creating now, because Jupiter is going in Pisces. Yes, this is great, but Pisces is an energy just goes and just goes off somewhere. So, but where? It's got
Yeah,
no
but it's
path.
also,
It's got no path or
yeah,
road like a Saturn thing or something which is direction like a Mars thing, which is I'm going that way. Pisces just like let's go everywhere. but
yeah.
but in this is not to get lost in some of your dreams here. Keep things contained, bounded a little bit of restraint, a little bit of order to this. Remember what your Saturn's doing.
Yeah. But
I
there
know
you
you're
have
itching
that.
to get in. Go for it.
Yeah, you have Vesta there, but I'm not sure if Vesta's in, what sign is it in?
Vesta is
Vesta's
in
in
Leo. Vesta's in Leo. No, hang on.
Leo,
What am I? No, Virgo. Virgo. Sorry. I just see at the bottom
Virgo.
of my chart.
Okay,
There
yeah,
it is.
because
Yep.
Vesta and Virgo. Vesta is the Virgin, which doesn't
Yes.
mean that she has no man. It means it's the Virgin that is dedicated to her work, to her devotion, and not influenced by others. No, so what Vesta in Virgo is saying, and Virgo is the sign also of the Virgin of it's a connection to you, to a higher self, service to others. So Vesta there is just saying, it's counterbalancing that Jupiter that can go either way, because Jupiter inflates everything, good and bad. It inflates the polarity. So it makes the party, but it also makes that anybody can come into the party, for example. No? And Vesta really asks us to be connected to ourselves, to be committed to ourselves, to be committed to a higher purpose also. So not to lose track of all of that, and not to get carried away by the dreams, whether they be good or bad. No.
Very poignant point there. Vesta's very much about this. And I've been reading up a lot about this. It really goes back to the Roman times and how they looked at Vesta. And she was part of these dreams, their inspiration, especially associated with the feminine side of her personality. It's now charts here. And for example, here, it's how Vesta in the wrong place in chart can absolutely wreck relationships if there's infidelity in a relationship, like three people in a relationship, for example. Vesta being the child, we just wreck it because it says here it's guarding the feminine. So men like to think they're in power and women are supporting the men. But if men go and abuse that power there, boom, Vesta comes up and says, well, sorry, we'll take that away from you. And it can leave you in a devastated place. But I'm not trying to say that, oh my God, it's terrible times. No, I think what we're being alerted to is the Vesta part here and it's in Virgo, is keep things straight, guys. Keep things in order. Keep things in order. It's about nurturing yourself. It's not about giving everything to everybody else. I know a lot of people at the moment have had these relationships. They well, all I did was I looked after him or her. That's all I did. I was there, and now they go and leave me. Yes. Well, they won't do. Because you weren't looking after yourself, nurturing yourself in the relationship you're in. Even in businesses, I'm seeing people here saying here, they're trying to help, they're helping people, which is great. No, it's great to go help people, but don't forget you. Investor in Virgo is really much saying here, there's a routine that says here, hey, remember who's number one. It's you, it's not everybody else. I think that's a big part to look at here. So we've got a cross in the sky. It doesn't show it astrologically on the chart, but there's a cross. And you've got this Jupiter, Vesta pivot, Sun and Moon either side, and it says, yet follow your dreams, keep an order, and just be careful we don't get carried away. We need to...
Yeah, this is a good example of what I was saying before about being responsible for yourself. So we have been brought up to think, especially women, that it's a good thing to take care of everybody else and ignore your own needs. And it is not a good thing. It is a very destructive thing.
Yeah.
So when you do that and you totally disempower yourself and you think everything else depends on everything aligning around you, and that is exactly what we have to observe now and change and start to make our own decisions.
Yes.
And be responsible for our own alignment, our own happiness, our own connection with source, etc., etc.
It's interesting you're saying this because I know that it's very difficult for sometimes our old mindset to get. Our old mindset to think about, hang on a minute, that means I'm being selfish, I'm being mean, I'm just thinking about me, I'm being self-centered. Well, maybe another way is centering yourself rather than being self-centered. And so for a lot of it, but once you start connecting, I think, guys, when we start connecting with this inner self, everything works. Everything works as it should do. And interesting as well, with this energy people are going through, the amount of people who are now being moved on, like connections you used to have with people that you thought may have been pretty close. You've actually suddenly realised, hang on a minute, this isn't quite what you thought. Snip. You let people go.
Yeah. And we think, and another argument to back what we're saying about it's not good to give. When you give from a place of outside of yourself because you gave so much, you're empty. What you do is you create a very big imbalance. So you make people not responsible for themselves, and you're not being responsible for you. And that's creating a very big imbalance that has to be balanced with something in your life that is not very pleasant normally.
This is very interesting, and I can actually go down the road here of talking about the people who are the controllers or even the narcissistic personalities. But although we talk about narcissistic personalities, people go, "Oh my God, it's terrible." But there's positive narcissists, there's negative narcissists. We're all narcissistic in one way or form. The way we try to control things in our lives. It's not necessarily just because we say this word. Just because we say this word is immediately. So imagine here, you're always giving out to someone else and you're always trying to impact their life. And it's like, I know some people who have had relationships and they won't allow the other person to give back to them. What they're doing is they're giving out all the time because, and when we really ask them, what is it, why won't you let them do this? They say because they're scared. They're scared of what they're going to get back. So they've always got to
Yeah.
control everything. And control, yeah, are you okay? You're happy? Oh, let's go and do this because this is what you like. Yeah.
Yeah, like this the other day I saw a woman who has been a nurse all her life, and she married a man, I think it's 18 years her elder.
Yeah.
So he just passed away, and now she's alone. She had no children with him. He had some children of his own. And because her entire life is taking care of others and seeing what's wrong to give them what they need, unconsciously, as because of her the passing of her husband, and she was left with nobody to take care of and also very exhausted, she started creating a problem with one of the husband's children. So we start, our mind starts like, I've been all my life taking care of others, no? So the people I've been taking care of suddenly disappear because I'm not working anymore, because my husband passes away. What do I do with this mental inertia? I need to take care of others. What is taking care of? What's wrong? What can I fix? So I have to create problems. So
Very
basically what
interesting.
you're doing, you're
Very,
creating problems in your life because
it,
you have this inertia of taking care of people, which means you have an inertia of finding problems to take care of, which is what politicians do. Politicians, to be find themselves useful, unconsciously they create problems they can solve.
it was interesting actually. I was actually chatting to someone in the media a few years ago, and they deliberately bring up something with the news just to create news, just to
Yeah.
create it. Yes, just
Yeah.
to start
The
something
thing
boom,
is,
there's
the
nothing there.
collective mind starts feeding into that story, and we create the problem, which is what happened with terrorism, which is what's happening now with the virus.
Yes, yes, and it's interesting how it impacts everybody. We start creating it, and individually, guys, if we, as spiritual people, very much, guys, I totally empathize with everybody who does this. Spiritual people want to help people. That's one of their goals: is to bring balance, harmony with the environment, people around them, to bring that feeling of goodness and love and compassion. But sometimes when an environment where someone doesn't need anything, doesn't need that that love you're trying to give them, it's then comes back to you, say, well, what is it that's where am I in this? Where am I in this? I need to be able to um, look at my own strengths, because sometimes we take on this great being, if I call it like this, the being of the angelic realm, the spirits, the we're here to help people, but who are you? Who are you? What's your real sense here? What's your real purpose? What is it that's not being identified? Because you're always producing something else. You're always giving out something else. Where are you? Where are you? And sometimes that's part there. Just as you say about that nurse there, if she can't help someone, she'll create a problem. And I think that's a big thing. I think it's a huge thing we're finding. And this is what people go through at this particular time. Jupiter in Pisces is a very nice spiritual energy, but this eclipse is squaring it and saying here, yes, but don't get carried away, lost down that road where you're giving and giving to others, and you're not having identity for yourself. And I know loads of organizations, people doing this. I mean, I've had the experience of doing this. I've had this experience of giving out, then suddenly realizing here that doesn't work. It doesn't work.
No,
It's nice, and people think, oh, you're so kind, you're so nice, you give. But hang on a minute, the people that are respected, really, the people respected are the ones that own their own power.
yeah,
That's
yeah.
really
And
it.
now we're really called to own our own power. It's really important. So
Yes.
as I said, we can find it either in our own experience, our own lives, or we can, maybe our children come up with stories that are about disempowerment, and you have to counsel them in an empowered way without taking their power away. So I think this is the type of scenarios that we can find these days.
I think so too. I think so too. And I think Deborah says, I agree. I agree. Oh, this that popped up here. There is, yes, yes, I agree. Yes, yes, yes. And I think this is one of the big points that we're going through at the present time. Now, as we look at other areas of the chart here, so Vesta's asking us, hey guys, come on, get to a plan, get to within yourself, be notice the feminine nurturing within ourselves that needs that little bit of emotion there. This eclipse is going on. It's very close to the moon's nose as well, just over here, guys. 5 degrees and 10 degrees, very close to this. And so it's pulling in this communication of Mercury. What is it we want in our world? What does it want to communicate? Here's the interesting bit. What is our message that you want to give to the world outside?
But also, Gemini is also about not only your own individual thoughts, but acknowledging that other people might have other ideas, other thoughts, other ways of communicating, and every single one of them is valid.
Yes.
So it's really learning to listen to others and not just jump in and say your own truth or disempower others. So it's also a lot about to empower thoughts, empower ideas from yourself and others, which means really listening and understanding the differences between people and the way we think and why we think the way we think. Because each person has a history, a past, and that's what's going to influence our mindset, our thoughts, our beliefs. So this North Node also invites us to pay attention to that, not just to jump and say whatever you want, no, not be so radical.
I think as well with this is really such an interesting conversation this morning. I totally agree with you. Is about understanding what other people want and need. And we've got Mercury just down here, very close to Venus. Venus and Mercury are going to conjunct on the 28th. And it's 21 degrees, 24 degrees. I think they're about 26 degrees when they conjunct. And as we look over here, we've got Neptune at 22 degrees, which is creating a square. And this is the ruler of Pisces, and it's in the sign of Pisces. Jupiter and Neptune in Pisces. We've got a heavy weight of Pisces stuff going on here. And sometimes we can get that little bit lost in that particular phase. Just as we're saying right now, what is our identity? What is it other people need? And sometimes we're suddenly realizing, hey, hang on a minute, some of our judgments may have been a little bit off cue. Maybe you've got to just slow down a bit. And that's so interesting because coming on the 28th, what goes and happens? Mercury stops and goes retrograde. Gives us the opportunity to rethink things. I really think there's a thinking going on here.
At 26 degrees, you said, because I think Pluto is at 26 now, isn't it?
Pluto is, Pluto's at 26 degrees. Yes, in Capricorn.
Right. So then it would be making a quincunx to quincunx. So the Venus Mercury retrograde would make a quincunx to Pluto in Capricorn. So it's a lot about listen to what other people are saying, see the differences, accept the differences.
I think so too, and just see the different points of view, directions and options that can be open to you. And I think as well, this eclipse is opening up the doorways to see this. To always see this and see the openness, and I think those are the important parts. Lovely. Lovely, lovely, lovely. Okay.
Yeah. For example, today I was with some friends having a coffee, and one of them said he's a year older than me, and he goes, I just had my flu jab. And I go, cool. I'm not, and he goes, you? And I go, I'm not going to have a flu jab. That's not because I have my own reasons for not having a flu jab based on my experience, on my reflections, also on my investigation, because I did an investigation on vaccines and so forth for a magazine I used to do. And that's my opinion. And then he has his opinion, and he says, well, I'm going to put my flu jab because in my job, I'm visiting people's homes all the time. So okay. I go, it makes sense. I feel that's perfect for you. And so with this flu jab, we can really see it's like, okay, some people believe it's a good thing and they want to have it, they want to have the flu jab, and others don't. And both opinions are perfectly fine. And each person has their own reasons. And what's not good is that if you have one opinion, to do the opposite. So if you believe that that flu jab is good, and you don't put it on, that's not good. But if you believe that flu jab is bad and you put it on, that's not good either.
No, no, and
So
it's
it's about being
yes,
coherent with what's your belief is, being aware and conscious of your belief, not a collective belief, but a personal belief, and then accepting the differences and doing what you feel you have to do and accept that others have their differences, their opinions, and their motivations to do differently.
that's interesting when you talk about fashion and things like this and fads we go through, and everybody starts to follow something, and everybody says it's fantastic because it gets hyped up, hyped up, and everybody's got to do this particular thing. Like everybody's got to be into this particular rock band, or they've got to wear these particular clothes because they represent a culture of some kind. It's great to follow that if that's what you want to do, if you're part of that culture. But if don't, I agree with you. Don't forget who you are and what you like. You like it. Sometimes here, some cultures and fads are just, yeah, some are great and some are, no, just nothing to do with them. But remember, have nothing to do with them if that's what your agreement is. Don't go and do it because everyone else is. Yeah, that's
Hmm.
a little bit of identity. I did this morning. Okay, right. Now, I'm just going to, let's come back to this for a minute. Hello again. Hello again. And I'm just going to go and find a little chart because a wonderful lady called April, she wrote in and she wants a chart. Now, because the way we're doing astrology at the moment, what we need you to do, guys, is to write to us before the show because we put your charts now up on the screen. And as you can see it, but it's your real chart. Your real chart. It's not just a solar chart. This is a chart here that works on your date, time, and place of birth. Place as in town. So, for instance, whether you're born in Leeds in the UK, whether you're born in Brisbane in Australia, or New York if you're in America, wherever this is, and your time. Sometimes, if you don't know your time, your local hospital may have the time. If not, then you can always use a pendulum to work out your time. And actually, there, if you're in that, you know, someone who does this, who really is, believes in the power of pendulum, like I do, then you can find out your birth time, and uh, and then yes, and your date of birth, and then we can work out your exact chart. But we need this information before the chart goes live because we have to draw this up. Do a couple of things, and then we can actually launch it. Launch it just as we're going to do Irene's in just a second. And so, yes, if you've got a particular question or something, write in. Write in. We'd rather you wrote in, please, with something specific. For example, here, yes, Deborah says all the information that is required is on pinned in on the Cafe Clairvoyance group. So all the information that you need for today is there. So, guys, understand that? Great. Because if we don't want to do the solar charts more, because it doesn't give us the accurate information that we feel we can validity give to you guys. Anyway, okay, I think we need, just before we do that, let's go and do a little bit of this. Okay, right, okay. Irena, very, very good morning to you. Here is your chart. Let's go and have a little look at this. Here we go. Right, there it is there. It is there. And loads of stuff going on here. We've got 12th house stuff. We've got first house stuff. We've got lots going on in the 9th house up here. And so loads of information there. And I think this is quite an extraordinary chart, to say the least. So, okay.
Is she a nurse?
Sorry?
Is she a nurse? Is Irene a nurse?
In a way, yes.
Because that Chiron Vesta in Taurus in the midhaven and the Venus, Sun, Mercury, Jupiter in the 12th house.
That would make
a
sense.
nurse
Yes.
with that's not very happy with the system. Leo rising, North Node, Lilith, Saturn, Moon there in the first house. So
No.
a bit of a
No.
conflict with the system, wanting to be part of it at the same time resisting it. Those
Yes.
four together there.
Yes.
Pluto.
Irene is a psychologist. Irene is a psychologist, but she has a very strong nursing side to her. Very strong nursing side to her. And I agree with her that she works very much in human design and healing and wanting to understand how our mind works. So, yes. Okay. Right. Okay, let's go and have a little look here. Now, over here, what she wants to know is about her career. And if we're looking about the career, we want to look at a few houses here. Yes, we'll look at the first house, which is over this bit. We also want to go and look at the 10th house, which is up the very top there. And if we can see that bit, then that's where we're driven to this. What it's also showing to us as well, in fact, it can I do, no, it doesn't do that. No, I've done that wrong way. Hang on, I'll go back to there. That's it, I'll do it that way. That's easier. I'm just going to bring this in. Nice. There we go. Good. Okay, now one thing I like about this chart here is how much drive there is subconsciously going on in the 12th house, where if you just look just that side, guys, you can see the Sun, you can see Mercury, you see Jupiter, you can see Venus there. A lot of it in Leo, which is about the pride of the lion, about expression, but it's in the 12th. So 12th, so the expression is through the mind. Expression is going to be subconscious rather than actually something which is going to be physical, like for someone who's going to be an athlete or something like that, if that was, say, in the 5th house or something like that. But this is someone here, by the look at this chart, very, very interesting. We've got, looking at career and looking at the first house here, it really is working through ourselves, I think, before we can actually be very clear about the career path. And I think I think Irene has taken a great deal of time and life to work out where she's going to. And if we look at the 6th house, which is just on the other side, which is near, not on Guiomar's side of the chart. And then we got Capricorn, which is Saturn based here, which is the routine of work. And there we're hard workers, we're grafters. We're not just going to be lazy people. We're going to work hard. But also here, it's interesting. I get the feeling here that Irene in her life has had loads of oppression.
But Lilith in the first house is about the soul cage, and the soul cage is your own thoughts. And then there's that Saturn moon in the conjunct the North Node and Lilith. So it's all about learning self-containment, learning to be your own master. And so probably Irene would have a life full of dedication to others and dedicating herself to other systems. Also, that sun in the 12th house is reminiscent of a past life abusing your solar power. So now you have to learn to be more humble and, bow down to others. But that would mean that for the first part of your life, you would disempower yourself in favor of other doctrines, other teachers, other paradigms that are not really your authentic paradigms. There's a Leo rising, so it's learned to let go of those where you belong to. So let go of the family, let go of the beliefs, let go of the systems. And you talked about human design, which seems to be pretty modern, but it is somebody else's system anyway. And this chart is all about connecting to your own inner intuition, to your inner sensitivity, to really be able to bring down your own system, but one that is authentically yours, and there's all this Lilith, North Node, Saturn, and Moon are in Virgo. So it's your tool, your system to bring down your own sensitivity, your dedication to your connection. That Kara and Vesta, they both talk about the higher connection in Taurus, which is a spiritual sign, but a spiritual sign through the body. So it's about aligning, not aligning with other people's systems, but your own, creating your own through your own sensitivity.
This is interesting you say this because I see this as like steps. I think Irene, what she did was she was learning through herself, through her own system here, through her life. And I think Saturn Moon, opposite the Moon's nodes in Pisces, I think there's a lot here to do with maybe perhaps family life is very difficult when she's very young. and Lilith there being as well, everything had to be really quite cold. It's a cold side here, unfortunately. Saturn and the Moon is in Virgo. It's quite hard, very critical. Everybody's criticizing her.
Look at the Uranus and Scorpio in the cusp of the fourth house.
Yes,
That's traumatic events at home when you're little.
yes, and it's so strong because it's on the cusp of the fourth house, isn't it? Being one of the cross points of the chart here. Those points, the first, the fourth, the seventh, and the 10th, are sometimes the strongest points in the chart. They really focus on something that's going to happen. It really sets off events which are going to happen in life. And sometimes it's finding that strength to be able to change that. But I also see this with Irene, maybe you agree with me, maybe not, is I think here, I agree with you that she's using this system of human design, which I agree with you. I think you brought it out that beautifully, that this is someone else's idea. It's not her idea, it's someone else, but she's good at it. She's good at using the tools of it probably to do this. But what I agree with you. I think this is a step-by-step process that everyone is going to use. It somewhere along the line, she'll download 12th house stuff here very much. Will be downloading her own.
There's a Jupiter in the 12th, which is similar to Jupiter in Pisces, and we were talking before about the downloads.
Yes.
And with Mercury there.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah, but for that, she has to align with herself, with her own inner guidance system, with her own intuition.
Yeah, because I think here, one of the greatest things I think here to go and do something, anything you use which you believe in someone else's, what they're doing is, hey, this is what this person says. I think this is great, but I would also like to add in this, and I would also like to, and so you taking the power of this for yourself. I think that's a big part there.
Yeah.
Deborah
Yeah.
says human design is re-emerging. Karen Curry has a very understandable book on human design, the new astrology. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
And also the part of the learning process here is part of the learning process for Irene is falling into the pits of not owning your own direction in life. So with the Neptune in the fifth house cusp, it's karmic relationships that make obvious how you disempower yourself in relationships, how you let yourself go, how you don't make the choices in the relationships, and you have to learn to make those choices, to follow your own lead, not to let yourself be led. No.
I think as well here, what's interesting, you've also got Mars in Gemini and you've got Neptune in Sagittarius there. You've got, this is where the apex is a little bit, coming on through, and the Moon's nodes as well. Moon's nodes as well, going up through the seventh house. Is the pivot there, have you got the eclipse? The eclipse, which is currently going through now. All right, it's not exact because it's 22 degrees and 18 degrees. It's out, but it's in the signs. It's in the sign zone. I think that's going to be something there could indicate there's a change for her. And
it's also, on her midhaven.
Yes, a midhaven. Yes, right on a midhaven. Yes, it's the direction of where she's going to. Yes, I just see that now. Yeah, it's where she's going to. Her ambition, where she wants to go to. It's Gemini, focusing on this and where that direction is taking. Jupiter is over in a relationship area, seventh house. And it's interesting if we look at this about the belief systems and looking at everybody else for a belief system, such as human design. The square here is saying, is that the path you really want to take? Wow, this is fascinating, absolutely fascinating. So I think, Irene, when you're looking at your chart here, I think this is a very powerful time about your own stuff, and that's what's going to bring out and make you amazing.
Yeah, and you have to follow your heart and your intuition for that.
Yes.
Also, the Jupiter in the ascendant can be very, especially with Mercury, you know, like you have lots of dreams, lots of, okay, this is it, and then the bubble bursts, and you go like, oh my God, but what was I thinking of? Or I don't believe in this anymore. Now what do I hold on to? No, whose belief do I hold on to? And it's like, no, your own.
I love that. I'll take that. I love that with, and I really feel that with her chart there. The only belief is her own. Belief is her own. And I think here and it also squares, right at that time, it squares Lilith and the Moon's nodes in the first house. My goodness, is there a lot of change that's going to go on? Personal change. I think, Irene, the way you're going to be looking at your life around you over the next few months or so is going to change
Yeah.
dramatically and beautifully. Yes. I think that,
Yeah.
wow.
What I would do with that Lilith in Virgo being square now, it's really because it's in Virgo, so Virgo has to do with order. But your space, your home, wherever you are, just rearrange things, put things into order, clear things, throw things away to create more space for the new coming in. No, so do symbolically, you can help this transition this way if you have it already.
Yes, now I think we're really on the verge. I think everyone's on the verge of the next step upwards in our own development. Deborah says here, I had a human design and life coach coaching session with her and Brian. Very informative, very and eye-opening. Yes, because I think she's really mastered it. But what's the next step? Next step is something you can do yourself already, which is very, very powerful. Wow, enormous stuff there. Good, good, good. I think that's very interesting. Good, and I also would say here as well, we got Vesta up with Chiron right at the very top there in Taurus. Vesta being a feminine, Chiron here. Don't sacrifice yourself for the power of yourself. Be the feminine, be that one, the healer there being Chiron. It's about nurturing, healing, and bringing that power through yourself. And it opposes Uranus down on that fourth house there with home and family. Ooh,
Exactly. And Uranus Scorpio talks about trauma related to codependency.
yes,
And Taurus talks about doing things on your own, and at your own rhythm, in your own fashion,
yes.
um, and also connecting to the body.
Very
So
powerful
Taurus
things.
is more individualistic.
Yes. And it's immensely powerful time for her. And I think, well, I see this is amazing. Great. I think, yes, good. Ready? Hopefully that helps you out there. And I think this is, so guys, just to really reiterate this particular time period we're going through, it really is now about Jupiter Pisces, that square we've got going on in the chart there, that square, it really is about taking on board our own and being aware of our own identity, where we're going, not following other people, but also helping people, great, but don't do it to the point where we're losing our own identity. And I think this particular period, I think people are going to go through, is about going backwards, going back to the sense, because Mercury going retrograde, to see that creation. You can find what you missed, what you didn't see, perhaps, and that's going to
Yeah.
create identity.
So, for example, also Irene has Uranus transiting right on top of her Vesta and Chiron.
Ah, right. Okay.
Because
Oh
Uranus
my
is at
goodness.
12,
Yes.
it's at 12 degrees, and it's squaring Jupiter Mercury conjunction. So it's very interesting. New information coming in. So if we're aware new information is coming in, we're receiving downloads, then we can let ourselves open up and our mindset change. But if we're not aware, if we don't allow it, then we're going to resist it, and it's going to be more painful. It's going to create dissolution, loss of faith, for example. So your belief systems are being rocked at this moment. So keep that in mind, Irene.
The being rocked, which doesn't mean to say that it's going to create instability. It can create power.
Always.
Always, always. Sometimes here, so we need conflict in our charts. It's like we need conflict because conflict creates growth. And I think there's something that I think there is something here. There was very quickly, and I think Midia, you did this the other day. Sorry, yes.
And it's of course that Uranus in transit. It's opposing her natal Uranus, and that's this is a period. This is the 40-year crisis. So this is when in the 40-year crisis, which is after the Saturn return, is when we're 29 years old, more or less. So that's like a wake up call to say you're not a child anymore. You're grown up, matured, take charge of your life. And then the Uranus opposition is the second big crisis or transit in our lives, and it's about okay, now for women, we really have to go out in the world and do our own thing. And for men, it's the opposite. It's going inward and connecting with your emotions. And then the next one is the Chiron return at around 50, which coincides with the menopause. So, and this is a lot about getting out there also for Irene. And she's a Leo. And Leos this year have to network more. They have to create networks. So, I don't know, something that has to do with maybe teaching people uh, a way of doing therapy, or a way of using the tools she knows, not only human design but other tools too, so it's more integrated in her. No,
I think it's a great idea. Yes, it's not just the focal point, it's everything else that goes on with it, but it is joined in with it. But I totally agree with you. That download time coming in now, I think is for her to take on board, to say, here, yes, you could do this, but what else is there which is from you? What else is there ready for you? So I think powerful times. But I think we can all take lessons of this at this present time. What is it that we could do for ourselves which creates this identity? And there's no rush at the moment. I wouldn't say to people, this has got to be done right now, because it won't work like that. This is stuff which probably takes maybe a month or so, a couple of months or so, or it's even longer than that if you want, guys, but to really feel and take on, say, what is it we're doing? Where is it we're going? How do you want to see ourselves? What is it that makes us great as people? But then still be able to give, but we have that. People respect you because you're then in your own power, own self, and I think it's a great place to be. I think it's awesome. Yeah, brilliant. Very interesting morning. Very interesting morning to talk about this and to create so much interest. And thank you for everybody's comments coming in on here. And I think it's amazing here. Media, you put out a fantastic post there on Instagram. I can't remember all of it, but I remember it is about the pain. It's about pain. If you could write down what it is there that you wrote, and I'll put that up on the screen, and we'll quickly talk about that before we go. And yes, you put a post up there. It's about DJ subconscious, which is part of your thing there. Do you remember that, Media? Because I know you're watching, and so you can come back and say. But that was it's just interesting. In fact, whilst you're doing that, I see if I can find the post on my phone, because I thought it was just very, very interesting, and it resonates to what I think we're going through at this present time. So brilliant. And right. Ooh.
what was the post about? Sorry.
I'm just going to look for it. She put it out there. It was she has a thing called DJ subconscious, and it's the subconscious talking to another part of the mind. But it's like a cartoon thing that goes on. It's really quirky. Really quirky. I really like it. But she says, why does this pain hurt this way? She said, because it's the best pain. And you put, yes, good. You're there, good. Oh yes, DJ subconscious rocks. Now, please just recite the words of that poem there that little cartoon you have there, because I thought for this particular time it's brilliant. If you've got time to do that there, it's brilliant. In fact, I'll see if I can.
So it's like an internal dialogue with her own self, is it?
Yes.
Okay, because Nidia, are you a Libra by any chance?
Maybe. Right, Darth is a Capricorn. Right, I'm just going to see if I can find it on here. But it's just interesting. I thought what you wrote down in media was brilliant. But it was a great cartoon you wrote there. I thought it was classic. And it just says here how sometimes we can have those particular situations going on in our lives. And I thought, wow, that's just cool. And I thought, there it is. I can find it now. There it is. It says, hey, HS. Yes, there it is. It's subconscious talking to itself. I'm a Cancer with lots of Scorpio. There we go. Cancer with lots of Scorpio. Right. It says, hey, I've just found it. It's hey, HS. Why does letting go hurt so much? And I thought it was classic here. She says, because it's a kind of growth pain and the best, actually. I thought that was excellent. That was excellent. I thought that was a very interesting little comment there. And I think so. Well done there. I think.
But if you scroll, if you swipe, the next one is, and how much do I have to keep growing for? And she goes, growth, just like the universe, can be infinite.
Yes. Yeah.
Why
I found that one. Yeah. Yes. Oh, brilliant, brilliant. Yeah, I love your little stories there. I always follow them. And yeah, DJ Subconscious on Instagram. If you like to follow, if you like to follow Midia there, you'll find it there. And I think her
I
little
just
cartoons are brilliant.
followed.
Yes, it's a bit like Snoopy. It's a bit more psychology going on there somewhere. Brilliant. Okay, guys, what I'm going to say, thank you very, very much for joining us this morning. It's been absolutely lovely seeing you all, and I hope you enjoyed this morning's session and take on board this eclipse we're going through, squaring Jupiter there, and that's the one. There it is. Yes. Why does letting go hurt so much? Because it's kind of growth pain, the best kind, actually. I think spot on there, spot on there. Just for
And you know what? You know what, Phil? Growth pain exists because it's the bones when the teenagers are growing. It's the bones that are growing,
yeah.
and that irritates all the fascia and the nerves around them, around the bones, and that's why they hurt. So the bones are ruled by Capricorn.
Yes.
Capricorn is also the sign that talks about our conscious growth as human beings, our maturity, which is where Pluto is. Its ruler is Saturn, and that's what we were talking about before.
Yes.
It's all about growth.
Yes, the growth of Snoopy in the version of DJ Subconscious. So, thank you very much, guys. There you go. So, a bit of fame for you there, video. I threw your take that on there. Yes, exactly, Guiomar. Yes, good. Great, guys. Thank you very, very much. Have a wonderful, wonderful morning. Lovely. Thank you very much for joining us. Hope you had a lovely day. And don't forget, if you guys would like a reading, please write in way before the show starts. If we've got your chart already, that's great. We can put that up. We need all this information before the show starts with your question for the show, because then we can have a good look at it rather than racing through it and missing points. We need to look at it to understand. Okay, great. And Deborah says, thank you for joining us. Please join us on Friday evening with Griggs and Midia. So we'll talk about a little bit about DJ Subconscious there, I'm sure. But in the meantime, though, guys, have a wonderful, wonderful, wonderful day. Take care.
Bye.